I have a hunch this is gonna be a good one. And with that joke out of the way, on with the show. Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation. The 5 points I articulate are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and for the entire month of October, we're going to have some very special Halloween reviews. Today we're taking our final look, at least for the time being, at the NECA Ninja Turtle Universal Monster crossover with Raphael as the Hunchback. Starting off with the packaging, and once again, I love it. Great portrait painted by Daniel Horn. Logo down here. Picture and logos on one side, more pictures on the other. At this point, not only was April not fully revealed, they'd also not yet revealed Donnie as the Invisible Man, or Splinter as Van Helsing. For those who want it, here's the barcode. Interestingly enough, they actually include instructions this time, and then another collage on the back. He's shell-bent on revenge. Get it? For packaging, I'm giving Leonardo 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, and at the top of his hump, Leo stands at just under 7 inches. What hump? Admittedly, I was a bit confused when I saw this marketed as the Hunchback. Frankenstein's assistant Fritz was a hunchback in the original movie. His clothes definitely look like Charles Laughton as the Hunchback of Notre Dame, but the facial hair is a lot more reminiscent of Igor from Son of Frankenstein. Personally, I think they should have just called him Igor, but whatever. From the top, and I am so sick of this McFarlane side-eye. All joking aside, the googly eyes are a lot of fun. Notice the hair lips stapled together. That'll be important later. I will say that the bushy eyebrows and soul patch are a bit weird to see on a Ninja Turtle. The teeth are fun though. Lots of bumps and warts throughout. Moving on down, he's wearing what seems to be a tattered burlap tunic. Really wonderful fine detailing there. Also some nice paint on the ropes and fasteners. Same for the incredible leather texturing on the belt. As we can see, he's covered in tiny little blue beetles. Not to be confused with, Blue Beetle. Also, don't worry, I will get around to these eventually. And hey, remember when I said that the stitches and staples were going to be important? That choice allowed them to reuse the hands from Frankenraff. Honestly, it's a smart reuse and doesn't bother me in the least. Moving on down, we can see some tattered pants and an ankle shackle. Really nice job on that. Of course, once again, the shell is possibly the best part. As we can see, this oversized dome has been cracked and riveted back together. We also see it has a hinge and a padlock. Side note, I love the fact that the padlock is actually hanging loose. This is all in service to the coolest feature this figure has, but I'm going to wait to talk about that until playability. As for presentation, I'm giving Leo as the Hunchback 1 whole point. Moving on to posability, and it's a lot of what we saw from the previous figures. Leonardo Gore's head is on a dumbbell joint. He can look up this much, this far down, which is really good. Naturally, he can tilt, but he can also look side to side. As usual, he has a swivel hinge shoulder, and as usual, the range isn't all that great. Once again, we have a double jointed elbow achieved with 2 swivel hinges. The elbow pads, of course, don't allow for the deepest bend, but you can get a pretty good swivel and twist at the forearm, and those reused Frankenraff hands have swivel hinge wrists. Shifting the torso, and he does have something in the waist. Something in the waist. I can get a little bit of twist, but nothing really to write home about. Below the waist, though, and once again, he has ball jointed hips. Kicks forward this far, splits this far, and has a great twist. If you saw my previous videos, you'd know his knees are double jointed. You'd also know that the top joint is a swivel hinge, and the bottom joint is a regular one. Again, because of the knee pads, the bend isn't that deep, and I don't really understand why they made this strap so thick. Either way, you can get some twist, which in combination with the hip joint does do a nice job of replacing a thigh cut. He also has some boot cut very nicely hidden underneath the pant leg, as well as ankles that can hinge and pivot. With Michelangelo as the mummy, and with Raphael as Frankenstein's monster, the lack of range didn't really bother me. After all, those characters are technically undead. The Hunchback, not so much. Especially when the situation could be improved by something as simple as making a strap more narrow. For posability, I'm giving Leo 1/2 point. Moving on to playability, and hands down, Leo is the best one of the bunch. Starting with the hands, and again, he has Raffenstein's. That also includes the fists and accessory holding hands. New to this figure, however, he also comes with a pair of pointing hands. And if that wasn't cool enough, you can also use them on Raphael. Do be warned though that Leo has bands on his wrist that could easily fall off when changing hands. The weapon holding hands, of course, are for the katanas. Nice little spike ball hidden in the hilt. Not gonna lie though, these instructions have me just a little bit nervous. Okay, honestly, that was actually pretty easy. All I did was pull the fingers back and push it in. And voila! But if that wasn't enough, the katanas come with these fireball effects. They slide in at the top and become torches to taunt the Frankenstein monster. Additionally, Leo has not one, but 2 different shovels. Now he's ready to rob all the graves. Why, he even comes with Walter's femur from the Burbs. He also has a skull perfect for reciting Shakespeare. And, coolest of all, this brain in a jar. Notice the gauges, tankards of who knows what keeping it going, a nice rusty lid. A nice rusty lid, by the way, that opens. And if all that wasn't enough, the brain is removable. As long as you don't mind a peg hole. Now I know what you're thinking. Jason, where is he supposed to keep all of that? Hey, remember this padlock? And this hinge? And this picture on the box that I intentionally didn't zoom in on? That's right. The shell opens up, revealing a shelving unit. I'll see myself out. And uh-oh, there's a spider in there. The skull pegs in up there, and the brain in a jar pegs in there. And not only can the shovels and bone go there, but the katanas slide into the shell itself, holding them in place. And you can even close it up. But as much as I love all of this, there is one missed opportunity I can't help but think about. I'm just saying, if you want an abnormal brain in the Ninja Turtle universe, there you go. There's always the chance that they can't or don't want to use Krang because he didn't appear in the original movie, or because they have a different idea for him. More on that a little bit later. But playability is more than just speculating over upcoming figure releases. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. For all my Leonardos that led us here, and here we have a reissue of the 1988 original. Here we have the samurai armor, the next mutation, the movie version, and for far less frightening versions of the Ninja Turtles, and here we have Michelangelo as the Mummy, Raphael as the Frankenstein monster, and April O'Neil as his bride. NECA has yet to make a figure based on Frankenstein's assistant Fritz, but in the meantime, here's Frankenstein's monster, here's the Mummy, and here's the Wolfman. For more contemporary monsters, and here's Jason Voorhees wearing the exact same costume as the Wolfman. Here we have Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. Here we have Michael Myers, Pennywise, and Pennywise. And then for a couple of other Halloween figures we've looked at this month, here we have Zombie Cap from Marvel Legends, and the deceased version of the Flash. For a relative scale comparison, here's Leonardo with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man. And as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. Literally. I really do enjoy this line, and I can't wait to see what comes next. We already know about Casey as the Phantom and Splinter as Van Helsing. And if Splinter is Van Helsing, I think it naturally follows that Shredder would be Dracula. I've already speculated that Razar could be the Wolfman. What about Toka as the creature from the Black Lagoon? And I know he wasn't in the original movies, but what about Baxter Stockman as Dr. Frankenstein? Or Krang as the Metaluna mutant? Lastly, the foot soldiers would make great mole people because both of them are army builders. If this line was a contest, Leo is the obvious winner. For playability, I'm giving Leo 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. Similar to Mikey and April, I found Leo at Target for $36.99, which, given everything he comes with, is absolutely incredible. I went into this video with Leo being the figure I was the least interested in, to him becoming my favorite. For price, I'm giving Leonardo as the Hunchback 1 whole point for a grand total of 4.5 out of 5. For another Leonardo video, check out my Street Fighter crossover review, or for another Ninja Turtle monster video, check out this one on Raph and April. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice, have fun, and stay spooky.